I thought it was me and Bill.
Oh, well, no, Bill's gonna get a real one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, very, better call the meeting to order. Is there anything to add to the agenda?
I have nothing further to add.
Nothing. Okay,
You're skeptical
well, no, that's fine. She had a choice.
I'll move it without the agenda.
James? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. So first item up then is accounts payable. Oh, or sorry. That is James. No, that is
Larry. Wow.
Yeah,
Are you okay tonight?
no, I'm bad. I saw his hand go up.
Good.
James is the one with hair.
James.
Yeah, James is the one with hair. Nice and hair.
Okay, so Larry, any questions?
Yeah,
Okay, James.
EFT 7303 to UG Excavating. Is that maybe labeled the wrong project?
Yes, that's
Yes.
the Fifth Street project.
Okay.
Kathy?
You've got EFT ending 7259, 7322, quote to Molly made for September house cleaning. Is that two separate houses?
There was that second one, 70.
72 is 59 and 7322.
It was for the same address, but on 2 different days.
Okay.
Chris?
If you have the number handy, I don't need to go look for it. Fire extinguisher recertification, multiple locations. How many fire extinguishers is that
That would
approximately?
approximately, well, every facility would have a certain amount depending on fire code and then all the fleet vehicles.
Mhm.
A large
Wow.
quantity. I say over 100 if I had to estimate.
Oh, okay, well then that's a pretty good price.
Every exit should have one,
Yeah,
and every truck should have one.
I didn't expect there to be that many. So that number surprised me, but okay, no, that's fine.
Any other questions?
Let's get there.
No, let's just. Okay. Being none, all in favor of receiving the information? Opposed, carried, and then cash and investment summary for information. Any questions or concerns about that? Being none, all in favor? Opposed, that is carried. And then moving on to budget reports for September 30th. Like to move for information, Chris? Any questions or concerns? James?
Under 72 under recreation there. What's that big variance? Was that a project or something? Oh, sorry, I'm on the summary.
272.
It's 72-00 recreation on the summary page. First one.
The very first page.
Yeah, it's there, 150,000 approved. Actuals -185, and there was a 223% variance there.
So the actuals are actually that's a revenue account. So
That's
that's
a revenue.
because this hasn't accounted for September through the end of the year for utilities. That will be the big spike in expenses that we haven't seen yet.
But you said that's a revenue account?
The negatives are revenues, yes.
Right. Any other questions? Any of those reports? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving information, opposed, that is carried. And then moving on to number 2, we have a delegation. We have Bill Duncan that would like to speak to us.
Delegation number 1.
Yeah, well, it's still a delegation.
Well, I'm here tonight.
Welcome.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I apologize.
Carry on.
I'm here tonight to not take up a whole lot of your time, but to thank you all very much for the nomination and ultimate selection to receive the King Charles III Coronation Medal. When Mott's our MP is going to be presenting it to me and others from Southern Alberta from his riding on Thursday at the college at 7 p.m. And you are all cordially invited if you would like to. Once again, I would say thank you very much for that nomination and ultimately my selection. So you all know how much it takes to be a member of this community and to act almost in a volunteer capacity throughout the community and all the different organizations that you all and a lot of other citizens have in their roles in the community to make it work. So again, thank you all. Your mayor has been here volunteering in this town and serving the community for longer than I've lived here. So keep in mind when he retires, he may. Whoa, is he retiring?
Probably
When
need
is that happening?
We'll probably need a majority though when that comes.
That's when you find out all your friends.
Yeah, that's what he said. Invite everybody you know. So
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you all very much. Appreciate that. And if I see you Thursday, great. If I don't, that's fine as well. So, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Somebody like to move for information? Jim? Questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed?
Guess we can have
Here.
questions.
And not questions now. This one's done.
Read all about
Yeah, well, it was just information. All right, moving on to number 3, we have a non-statutory public hearing for development permit application 24 DP 040. Call it open to order. All right. Are you first? Okay. You like to introduce it?
So tonight we just have a non-statutory public hearing ahead of council's decision for a direct control development in a direct control. In keeping with policy 039 direct control policy, we did advertise the non-statutory public hearing in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks and did send it out to all the adjacent neighbors. To the best of my knowledge, town has not received any concerns or complaints or pros or cons against the proposed development. Is there any other questions this time from council? I do know the application will be coming later for council.
Yeah, and then MPC's comments are in both. They're here and later. Okay, thanks, Brian. Is there anybody else who would wish to speak?
Can I speak to some of the comments from the MPC?
Yep.
Is that time for that? Okay.
Well, less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Probably less than 5. So I do have the paperwork from the lawyer saying that to consolidate the lots. So that's in the making, okay, if there's any concern there. Safety codes, no problem. The shipping containers shall maintain 1.2. That's not an issue at all. That lines up basically with the storage that's there. If it's okay with you guys, I would like to be able to have the doors facing the alley, and then people would load there. The only people that ever use that alley is me and Ben Verink. Ben Verink uses it twice a year to rip his crop out, throw it in the alley and haul it away. I drive up and down the alley once in a while just to make sure my storage is all intact. And once in a while cut the weeds. So that's what all that alley ever gets used for. So, I mean, it would be beneficial to me if people could just kind of back up or come in there and do that. And besides that, no, everything else, no further comments.
So Tim, don't run away, please.
Yep, not running.
So I would have a question then, right now, 1.2 meters or 4 feet.
Yeah.
With nothing accessible from the back, basically is saying they don't want back alley access. So I guess the other option is like, yes, you can have garage doors facing the alley, but then you need 3 meters setback, right? That means at least you can get a vehicle in there sideways and not be restricting the laneway. So I would say that you can have one or the other, but you can't have both.
Okay, which one was the first one?
Well, you can be 4 feet with doors in, or you can be 10 feet with doors to the laneway type of thing. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, like you're having half a dozen, well, if more than one person showed up, it could be a cluster. And I'm not saying it ever would, but if it does, it's a cluster.
So
Like, there's no way to go past each other.
okay,
And we have bylaws that say 5 minutes, not that I'm gonna say bylaws enforced equally all over town, but
yeah, well, you're looking for a bylaw officer.
we are.
So I want that job. So
All you have to do is apply.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want it. So because, and I heard what you said, but because every 4 or 5 years or whatever, because it's direct control and their containers, maybe I'm just speaking for nothing here, but what about if we just leave it the way it is, like even with my storage, so that they all line up? And then, you know, I mean, if it's a big problem, like if it's a problem going forward, then I'll slide them back.
So you're talking about every 5 years, I think it is with that permit.
Yeah, but I don't care. We can make it 2 years. Doesn't matter. I just for that one purpose. You know, like if somebody's complaining, which personally I don't ever see it happening, because like I say, nobody ever uses the alley. I've lived there I've had property there since 1984, so you know, like, yeah, nobody uses that alley, so yeah. So and if there's problems, if there's complaints, you know, I don't care a year from now, whatever, you know, and if Brian hears anything, then slide it back. I mean, obviously, I want to be able to use as much property as I can there. You know, it just makes it nice. I mean, if that alley was like a commercial alley, you know, people driving up and down that thing all the time, well, you know, I completely would agree with what you're saying, but like I say, if there's a vehicle going down there once a month now, that'd be a lot.
Is that even within our power to entertain that?
Well,
So now we can do what, a 25% variance?
I think because of DC, there's a lot of latitude, but what you're doing is setting precedent that somebody outside of that, like it's actually almost ugly both ways, because there's also, I believe, somewhere in the land use bylaw, something about a 25-foot you're supposed to have between garages and houses, but I know of lots that definitely don't have that. So, yeah, but it's just, I know that one for sure. If you can put a garage on a meter in from an alleyway if your door is sideways. But as soon as you turn the door to the laneway, then you have to be 3 meters setback. And even that, if your truck is long, you're still out there. But at least sideways, they could load and offload and be off the laneway. And really, that's about a 6-foot move. So then there'd be, if his measurement is right, it would be moving from 28 feet, 22 feet.
Does that mean my time's up?
Yeah, that's it. You're
You're buying donuts.
I'm buying donuts, okay.
No. That was just the one concern because MPC did bring it up and it is in comments later on. And I realize that there may be no traffic now, but you're looking at possibly creating some.
Yeah.
It's, all your other stuff is accessed from the street in, right?
Yeah.
Like your undercover storage and all that.
Yeah.
It's not laneway accessible.
Nothing.
So this would be the only stuff that is going to actually put laneway
Yes,
movement.
yes.
Well, that's the only question I have. If anybody else has any. Your wheels. Oh, okay.
I'm just thinking internally,
That's good.
nothing worth saying out loud.
Okay.
Stopped it for.
We all can.
All right. Okay,
So what are we looking at here? Or
We'll vote on it.
Ryan,
well, what'll happen is, this is the public hearing, non-statutory public hearing. Everybody gets their say.
Yeah.
And then just so happens, it's not too far down the list when we actually make decisions about it. It's right after.
I think that used my 5 minutes, so I'll sit down while you make the decisions.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
So, I guess one thought that not for Tim, more for Brian. Being that it is a direct control and Dwight made reference to, there is a little more latitude to council's authority in the matter. Would it, and to kind of reflect Chris's question, would it be within our authority to make those changes?
And what thoughts do you have?
Not that I don't mind answering the question, but I don't know, that'd probably be a question that comes up during the development under 5A.
Yeah, this is more,
Well, I can ask it.
it will come up later.
Yeah.
This is like information gathering because it's a public hearing.
Oh, okay. We can ask it then.
All right, thank you. Well then, with that, if there's nobody else, I'll declare the public hearing closed. All right. I don't think we even have to move anything on that, right? All right. So let's go on to council minutes. September 23rd. Kathy, any questions, concerns, errors? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, that is carried. Then, moving on to request for decision, we have a development permit application 24 DP 040 for consideration.
Move option number
Oh,
one.
please.
Oh, we gotta move an option
Okay.
motion, right?
All right.
First time?
Yes,
Holy smokes, man.
all right. Okay,
I'll move option
Name.
number one, but I might move to amend it here after we talk.
At least we can put it on the table
Yeah.
of discussion.
So, Brian,
Right.
to reflect Chris's question from earlier, are those things we can do?
The council does have a lot of latitude under direct control. In essence, they can do what they want. Council does not set precedents. I mean, although it could be brought up at a future one, but every decision that council makes in a direct control is based off of that individual development. So that being said, is council does have the latitude to say it can be right on the property line if they so desire.
So to Mr. Coonhorn's point there, could we put a stipulation in there that we will review it in 1 year, 2 years, whatever, instead of the normal 5-year?
That is absolutely within council's authority. So just as a little bit of background here, on August 26th, Mr. Truehorn did submit a development permit to convert the existing house into a temperature-controlled mini storage, as well as to include 8-foot by 20-foot shipping containers on the west side or at the rear of the property line there. As per our land use bylaw, this was taken to the Municipal Planning Commission at the regular scheduled meeting in September. And you do have the following comments that they had offered to council in regards to this decision. And again, and just speaking with what we heard at the public hearing, and I think Mr. Truehorn was in favor of everything there, with the exception of just that the shipping containers shall maintain the 1.2 meters from the rear property line. And again, and that really does have more to do with in the public roadway, that there would be doors opening into the public roadway and that there would be vehicles stopping in the public roadway. And again, grant you, I have no idea how often or how little that back road is used. But yes, and under our land use bylaw, shipping containers are visited every 5 years just to make sure that they comply with the conditions of the development permit and they're still looking good and they have in the neighborhood. The only challenge or circumstance that I would see is in this particular development is that we've tied 2 different developments with the same permit. So we can review the development permit every 5 years, and for sure if they can be fixed, or if we find that the shipping containers aren't good or need to be removed or whatever, or not impacting with the neighborhood, then we do run the challenge that we've already approved for the house in the same permit. So, I mean, as far as revisiting them though, to move them and have that conversation, that can definitely be done.
What potential challenge would it arise with the house? So is it just opening up that?
We open up that development permit.
So we could say at that time, we don't like the house anymore being storage?
No, it's just as if we say, hey, part of that development permit is no longer compliant. What does that do to the whole development permit?
Then you might have
But
to
again, I mean, you could revisit that here with council because it is a direct control.
see. So, sorry, I'm gonna be quick here. So if we said in 2 years, 3 years, whatever, 5 years, we said, no, we don't like the sea cans there, then he would have to reapply for a permit for the house because that permit would be no good anymore?
Potentially. If it was council's direction to have them moved, then they could be moved and still fit council's ideas and goals. Then we could do that.
Okay, I know this isn't the statutory hearing right now, but is that a reasonable risk in your mind?
So you want to get on to this, you know, I mean, when Brian was talking there, I was thinking, well, maybe I should have done it in 2 development permits. I mean,
Yeah, hindsight.
you know, but, you know, that way then we have to go through the whole rigmarole again and wait for another month or whatever it is. And for the next meeting, you know, which.
Or it might never be an issue. If the sea cans are never an issue, then it's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, if there's an issue that they need to be pushed back someday, well, whatever, so what? You know, that's not a big deal. You get a skid steer, push them back, right? Yeah. Whatever, we'll just leave it the way it is, and if somebody doesn't like the sea cans and they all have to disappear, well, then at that time, I guess I'll begging police so the house can stay there or something.
If it got approved once, it should get approved again, just probably a cost.
Am I right by saying then we'd have to have 2 development permits going here? Like, or am I wrong there, Brian? Because I mean, I don't want to start over again with one or the other, right?
No, if we would separate them.
Yeah.
I mean, then you would, I'm not even saying there's an issue with having them together. I'm just saying that the risk or the challenge to the town would be as if in 2 years or a year or whatever council's decision is that they say that they have an issue with the shipping containers being in their location. and they want them removed, then we have the challenge with the house itself. If council's willing to just alter that development permit and say, move them back to the 3 meters, because we're having some challenges with the back lane,
Yeah.
then that would be fine.
Well, that's the thing that I would like to look at in 1 year.
When
Not
you're ready for
remove
that. Yeah, yeah,
Wait for the 5 years for that, until somebody's gonna remove something. But I don't, in 1 year, if there's complaints or problems with them being lined up with the storage, we'll push them back. But I mean, I don't want to talk about removing them in 1 year. I thought honestly, I don't think that there's gonna be ever any issue anyways, but.
You're probably right, but what if, or who knows what the next council's mood is?
I'll bring coffee next time. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna make that point. In a year, there could be a totally different council, we never know.
Or,
So one thing you mentioned about the 1.2 meters and, is you give an 8-foot C-can, 4-foot door, that would open right to the laneway. So what would council's flavor be of maybe saying a minimum of 1.5 meters from the property line to be revisited in a year and allowing that laneway access?
they already are 1 point.
Well, 1.2, they're at right now, 1.5.
Yeah, it's like, because that's my shop had to be, my shop had to have that too, right?
shut that at 1.0 meters.
1.0, okay.
Yeah, so if we go 1.5, then the doors don't quite impede on the laneway if they're open. And, yes, people would have to block the laneway to load or unload. Is that gonna be a problem? I'm not sure. But if we put a 1-year stipulation on, and then, or maybe we word it that we revisit the shipping container location in 1 year or some setback in 1 year, something like that, so that we're not saying we're revisiting the development permit. I don't know what council's flavor would be for that.
I think we should stick with our bylaw, otherwise we need to go open up a can of worms.
Well, like Brian said, a direct control, any rules we make are specifically unique to this property, not to the town as a whole. So I would tend to agree with the fact that it doesn't really set a precedence. Maybe if someone else came forward with a direct control permit application and then they were trying to do the same thing, but
And it could possibly happen.
it could. Could.
Any other questions or concerns? Go ahead,
There's
Larry.
no other direct control in town anyway.
There is a couple, there's not very many, and by rules, we don't really want a whole lot of direct control.
What has happened to previous direct controls is when new land uses have come along, they've been designated for what they are, therefore they're no longer DC, right? They move into other classes.
They conform to the new.
Yeah, like you're now taking the house and making it a commercial use, so it could easily have a different zoning that would no longer be DC. Like insulation plant always used to be DC. Is it still DC or has it been M1?
M2,
M2?
M2, you're going back a few years, I2,
Okay,
or I now, actually is what it is.
okay, well, if they heard within a year of
That
that,
is what
I2. As long as it didn't you two, I'm good.
I mean, direct control is only used for those where either the land is very unique or the development in it is very unique and it doesn't fit with the land use bylaw and used more so for just those one-offs. Or where council deems it very important that we get more of the community's input.
Okay, well, then I will. I'll amend my motion and point number 8 here. Where it says the development permit is valid for 5 years. Can we reword that to, development permit is valid is there a way to word it where it says like the development permit is valid for 5 years with the setback of shipping containers to be reviewed after 1 year? Or like that?
And then would you review it concurrently every 1 year? Or just review it after 1 year once?
Well, I don't know. Because every time it's reviewed, is he gonna have to like reapply and pay a fee every time we review it, or does it just come to council?
I would ask for that clarification. What does council mean when it says reviewed? Is it just like?
I don't think it'd be fair to make them pay it.
Yeah.
Is it just driving by, ensuring that it's still in compliance, or is it?
Or just checking to see if there was complaints made.
I guess that's just what I would ask is what review is. Just if there's complaints.
Yeah, review if there's, I guess, to review every year if there are complaints about alley traffic or something like that.
Okay, so if it's reviewed November 1st and I made a complaint November 3rd, then it would come back to July
Following year.
And reaffirming the decision with council.
Right, yeah, and that would be bringing that forward to council, that's comments that we have.
Are you also changing 3?
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking for that. Age of the person that wanted me. And then number 3, shall maintain a minimum of 1.5 meters for their property line. And number 4, loading and unloading areas can be from.
You'll just strike that, I think.
Yeah, sure, just strike that. Well, but does there need to be verbiage in there about which direction they have to face, or we don't care that?
Well, now, like, by having it with 4 meant the doors would have to face in.
Yes,
Because you would have to load and unload on the site. But
maybe we just change
the
4.
request is to point
Doors
us
can't
towards the
face.
laneways, so therefore the loading and unloading is gonna happen in the laneway.
Well, yeah,
That's basically what that is doing.
so we'll just strike it and then he can put the vent face in the laneway.
and then our 5-minute bylaw will take over from there. And vehicles there for more than 5 minutes, which they will be, but just gives us something to refer back to.
Okay.
If there's.
Yeah, strike number 4.
I was telling the fire stopping for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, and then walk and get another.
Maybe something like parking downtown Medicine.
There you go.
There's nothing saying you can't do that.
Make them sign a contract saying we'll do that.
Going back to your First Amendment there, it'll only be reviewed if a complaint comes in. Is that?
Well, probably council if a complaint is brought in, right? Because so there's no complaints, then
It's just, and it's in front of council.
Council doesn't want to hang anything.
So the 5-year thing with start to review at 4 is what that happens with all CCANs.
That's more for aesthetics.
Because they might be getting faded, rusted, whatever.
Mhm.
Like some people have to fence their CCANs, but this obviously wouldn't get fenced because then there'd be no access to load and unload.
Right.
So some,
Well, fencing's more.
Some here. Well, fencing and screening has been on some CCAN developments. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. That's not here.
Does that all make sense?
That's not.
Everyone?
You're going slowly, and I appreciate that.
Say anybody have any legit comments they'd like.
Don't have any of those.
Seeing none. Everybody understands? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried.
Thanks for coming out, Ken. You're welcome to stay for the rest. You're welcome to stay for the rest. It's a real deal.
Can't see that rest being quite as exciting as.
You are correct, sir.
I'm correct.
Yes.
Next up is budget submission. On new one, this came to town. For information. Chris, looks for information. Any comments or concerns?
You have a question.
Okay, Matt, go ahead.
That road, is that an oil road? Like, is it done with oil instead of like asphalt?
No, I think it was done with asphalt, but then there's been some patching in between that you can see. We go out yearly, sometimes monthly as well to do full patching.
It looked like
Yeah, some places have been so bad with spalling that we have placed gravel.
What's a guesstimate on what that project would cost?
I would have to get numbers.
Well, that's not a very good guesstimate, probably a couple $100,000. Well, I would think more than that,
Couple
yeah.
feet.
Well, it's just milling and paving, right?
I mean, does it need to be done?
Why would you mill?
Well,
There's nothing to mill.
there's not much left there.
You'd have to patch,
Level it up.
you'd have to patch the gravel to actually overlay the whole thing, and there's no shoulders and there's no curbs, there's no nothing. If you were gonna try to build it,
That's why I almost said,
it would be millions.
that's why I always think it'd be.
I think that's right. I don't think that's paved.
I'm saying it's pavement.
That's a oil.
But it was once the Trans-Canada Highway. Till it was twinned. That was the old, that's why it's called the old Trans-Canada Highway. It's not just a moniker. It really was the road. When the highway used to come right through Red Cliff, right past all the brick plants, that Broadway was,
No, I hear you.
then it branched off. and
Part of it.
Broadway was Broadway, but it did come in and then veer off.
That's kind of how it was oil.
I don't know. I wasn't here then.
It's like, even really, it looks like, I think up to about here,
I think it's broken now.
here west is oil. That's what I think. Looks like.
Well, over the years, if the county would have redone it, they would have oiled it.
Yeah.
Because that would have been more economical than hot mix.
Yeah, and hasn't the county taken care of this road in the past anyway?
They have. We didn't annex it till a few short years ago.
What year did we take over?
2009.
That's.
That even if you're driving on 8, if you're driving
Well, that-
along right at the end of the greenhouses in the storm pond, you hot mix changes to cold mix. You can see it there, it changes. But even this much in cold mix would be a lot of money to grind it up and redo it. And I don't think it's, yeah, I wouldn't jump up and down and say it's cold mix.
Cause I'd be curious to see what it would cost then if we did it in oil. Not paving it. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, right now it's moved to receive for information. So you have to vote it down. Any other questions, concerns, or comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Hey, Shortgrass Library System Budget Requisition for 2025.
Yeah, why are we getting this way?
What's that?
Why are we getting it?
Because you're lucky.
This increase is about 2026.
It's proposed. We review it every year. And by then it'll be a new council, so you never know what'll happen.
I'll move that we receive it for information.
It blows my mind that they go through that much.
So-
Year.
Technically, it's for consideration to be forwarded to the budget. What's that? Yeah, she asked for consideration.
I'll move for consideration.
Thank you, Larry. Me too. Any questions or concerns?
No.
I'm looking at my agenda. It says for consideration. It might say something different in there.
Yeah, it does.
No, that's for consideration.
I know that's what it says there. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then we move on to the fire truck budget for consideration. And you're not a great negotiator.
I'll move option.
Or some misunderstanding of some verbiage.
Oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe the nomenclature that they think they can get away with.
Hey Siri, what does nomenclature mean?
So this is what, 2 years worth of back and forth with what we want and what they said they were quoting us. And
Now we gotta add 25.
so right now, technically, it's only a few $1,000s difference, but Shannon is asking for a one-time increase So we don't have to come back if all of a sudden we say it's $5,000 more and it comes back $7,500 more.
How many tires does it get with it?
It has 6 tires. There's pictures of it.
No spares then?
It is in the shop being assembled as we speak. If you go on Fort Garry Facebook, you'll see a yellow truck in there. That's Red Cliffs. It's emergency green actually, but yeah, all the rest are red and black that you can't see at night. Just accidents looking for a place to have.
And there is new pictures today.
Yeah, every Tuesday they put out new pictures.
And anyone can access it.
Fort Garry Facebook page. Yeah.
I'll have to check.
But, and we have already sent them a check for the truck, because the truck is delivered and in the shop.
In the shop.
So I'm confused. Why is it? So it was already approved for 750 from the purchasing reserve.
No, that's how much is in the purchasing reserve.
Yeah,
Yes.
we originally, back when this was first tendered, it was around 650. That's back when,
750,000 is currently allotted towards the purchase of the fire truck.
in
In the
the
reserve.
equipment reserve. But when it was tendered and brought to council the first time, it was 50-50.
That's on top of.
So it was under.
And so we're now, we're slightly over.
Okay, so it's under still of our original.
Yes.
Yes, but it's still,
I forgot it came back.
rather than coming back again for another $2,000 or something, Shannon just thought that if she asked for 25, we should definitely be able to stay under it, because as far as I know, the final costs are
Right now it's 3,000 over, an additional.
1250.
1,500.
yeah, say
Something like
50 for the new
And it's just in terms of
battery.
other unknowns that come up.
Should stay under $25,000 more,
Yeah.
unless they see this.
No.
Yeah.
Rick's not.
Then, oh, you want an air in those tires?
That's really small.
If the things I
Turn your
brought
phone
up
sideways.
what we have. Well, actually, I lied. The one we have is an extended cab. This one
Yeah,
is
this is
not
a
extended. It's just a single cab. But we're going to extend the front bumper, so lengthwise it will be the same length of truck.
So you can mount a pump on the front?
No, just trash hose, like if we're putting out alley bit.
You know, all those. Wow.
Yes.
It was configured to be as consistent with the truck we have now.
It's not an identical twin, but it's a twin.
And the whole reason we're doing this is just because NFPA. right?
NFPA says, because it used to be a truck could last Red Cliff 20 years as a frontline pumper. Then we crossed the threshold of population that now you need a new frontline pumper every 15 years. They don't care how old your second line pumper, as long as it can pass pump tests and see that.
I thought there was a number on the second line.
Nope,
No?
no, because we're running the one we bought from the city, and so
It's
way
a
older
older.
truck. Yep,
Okay.
You're gonna tire that.
it will be surplus probably. Yeah.
Put a rope on it. It's one bigger. Well, it's good.
See if you got 10 months for it.
Bring the water level up.
I'll buy the one.
Do it in an intake then, so that it helps create a little dam.
All right, all these undos.
We're hopeful that we
So
will
somebody actually moved.
No.
Oh, that did, okay.
map it.
Well, I didn't have anything written down either, so.
Yes, we are hopeful to have, or the truck will be completed by the end of November. But.
So take long.
Christmas gift for sure.
In time for the Christmas tree lighting event?
We can water the tree.
Well, then it might not.
No, because they're gonna do that in November.
You're doing the Christmas lighting in November?
Yeah, because usually you light them up the day, you don't wait for the day after Christmas. It's gotta keep bringing. And I say that because
6 days.
that's how I grew up. You'd start shopping at Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Any more questions or concerns? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Enhanced sponsorship opportunities for consideration.
I'll move that, this be received for information and or further direct administration to investigate additional sponsorship options.
Questions or concerns? Shannon?
Do you have any specific ones that you want investigated or all of them, or is there any that you?
Whatever you guys think is the best use of your time. Well, there's a lot of options in here, but I don't know if we really want to pepper the whole arena.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I read out of this is there's a big, in my opinion, there's a fine line between sponsorship of Redcliffe Minor Hockey and sponsorship of the arena, because the arena is the town building. Like the Canalta Center, the Tigers don't get the money from co-op to call it co-op place. The city does. And so if we give up every piece of wall for advertising so the Grizzlies can bring the cost of their year of hockey down, that doesn't help Joe taxpayer $1.
Okay.
It'll only if your child is skating on that team. It does not help us because they're not contributing to us. No, if the sponsorship money was coming to the town of Redcliffe, that would help with our
Or
taxpayers. And that's the other thing, we give them a rate far below everything else. And they do this.
But I already said that we should raise that.
Makes it easier to raise it.
Well, this is,
If we give them this control.
I didn't want this to go into a budget and rate thing. Basically, this is telling admin, the motion is telling admin what to do. And so I was just saying, like, in my opinion, if there was sponsorship of the building, that should come to the town to buy down the taxpayers' cost on the building.
Just the sponsorship of the building you're interested in? Or?
Well, they already have their sponsorship wall that
Yeah.
people can contribute to them, and they've got photos of it in there, and it's just little banners. It doesn't take up the whole building. But if you start calling a dressing room something, or start calling the kitchen something, like, that's actually a town facility.
And that should go to the town.
That's my opinion. It's only one of 7. Go ahead, Shannon had her hand up first. That's on you.
So just for a little bit of clarification, the what they're currently sponsoring is the rink boards. We do collect as the town $250 for each of those.
Yeah, basically rent it to them and then they
Okay.
sublease it out.
And then anything over and above, they would get. So if they got $1,000 for each rink board or whichever, we get our $250, they get everything else. Plus they're responsible for the poster and all that kind of stuff.
And the
That's how it
maintenance-
is right now.
And the maintenance
Yeah, it
as
says
well.
that in here.
You have to do any maintenance and stuff.
No, they install, the advertisement, and if there's any maintenance to be done, then they do it. So scrubbing or making sure that it's in good repair.
Now that amount, that $250 is not set out in any guideline. It was what that had been worked out with them.
So with the hockey organization I'm with the city, it's anything that goes onto the building or the Zamboni, anything that's city owned, they take 1/3. But any in-house, like any in-game advertising that doesn't go onto the city building, it's 100%.
Right, and also, it's like verbal ads and all those kind of things. Totally.
But again, us as that organization have to, again, maintain it. We have to put it out, all that stuff, and we have to take it down if it's null and void. So,
And I realize there's work in drumming up the sponsorship too. It's not like, shouldn't be 100% ours, but I just think that shouldn't be 100% theirs either.
and honestly, trying to find sponsors to even, like, I know we're having a huge issue trying to get sponsorship to do any of that, so I don't see this being an overbearing thing. Like, I don't see it happening where it's just, if it's gonna be ads everywhere. So we're having, yeah. And like I said, we're having issues too, so a lot of companies aren't giving out money. So.
Chris, what companies have we had come beating our door down wanting to sponsor the rectangle?
Who's on third?
Good, no, yeah.
Carla had used to take care of that. I don't recall off the top.
Was there much?
I don't recall.
Because I got a sneaky feeling we don't have much trying to figure it out.
Asking us to expand the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so
I reckon Hydrology's gonna be a much better salesman out there than we ever could be.
at this point, we are just asking if we can renew the contract for the existing reg boards. Give us this time to review it and see what other communities do and what options are out there for us.
So for this year, it would just be status quo.
Yes.
No extra space,
Unless we made the motion to give them the extra space.
right? But the motion right now is already that motion to investigate. Because James did that.
So you don't need the motion to, because this motion doesn't say renew the
No.
agreement, it just says.
We should do that within the policy.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
I personally think if they go out and collect thousands upon thousands of dollars in advertising, great, good for them. Better than $0. And then maybe we can say, we're gonna use some of that money to subsidize your ice time and your rates are gonna go up when it comes next year. So I think it's a good time to let them go out and see what they can raise.
We don't have any kind of ratio or anything established at this point.
Okay.
To cut.
Right now, if they raise money, they keep 100%.
Well, no, she's saying we get $250 a board, they get whatever else that was over that.
So if they sell it,
That was
it's just on the boards.
that was specifically for the rank boards, what we have now.
Everything else that they're proposing in here, there is no.
But they can't do that
No,
yet.
because they don't have it yet. They're asking for everything for nothing, yes.
They get thousands upon thousands of dollars, then next year we can say, okay, we want a third, or we're gonna raise your rates.
So that would look bad. Better to have the policy in place first.
Yeah.
And ask later. Definitely. You can have your opinion.
Thank you. And I think it'd be fine to say, we're gonna give it to you, go out and raise all the money you can. And we're gonna revisit it next year. If you guys were very successful with it, good for you this year and good for both of us next year.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
This isn't gonna go my way.
I agree with you.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? Opposed?
You did.
Carried.
I'm in favor of my motion.
All right.
Because
Other-
they're to investigate them.
Municipal manager report for information. Kathy,
Where does
questions or concerns?
Gordon Bradford want to play? And sounds like we
Right
need,
around the Christmas tree.
sounds like we need a beer gardens.
Gee. Ay. No pecuniary here.
Nope, none. Where and when does he want to play, by the way?
It's
The only-
mentioned in here that Gord Bamford was looking for small community setups. Shannon, know your meter packages.
Don't you write the best contact?
Contacted by Gord Bamford, seems to host a small town.
It must be like, maybe.
Must be saying Christmas.
No, that's your 17th January. New Year's is the 4th. Well,
That's not pecuniary interest.
The lead
Maybe
singer
I'm
for
confused.
Swing Yo-Yo is friends with Gord. James.
it's James.
I don't know who Gordon.
He played at,
Alberta.
May about 4 or 5 years ago up in Devonshire. He's from Red Deer, is he not?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's country.
Yeah, he's country.
Oh, that's why I don't know.
He did come up, Jay, before 5440.
Oh, was he the same date?
No,
as that?
no, the different
Or a
year, the year before. Something like that, maybe 2 years before.
I
It was in
remember-
Devonshire.
I remember a guy with a guitar.
Yeah.
Country.
So
Big
yes, we
cowboy.
contacted, we're just looking into some of the details.
Cool. Well, that sounds fun.
Very good singer. It wasn't hot.
Okay, is there any other questions from this whole report?
That was the question. Jeez.
I said, is there any other?
Thank you.
That was a legit question.
I did have a question.
I have one question. What are we doing with bylaw. Are we getting anywhere with that or what's going on?
The bylaw or bylaw officer.
The bylaw officer, yeah.
It's still in process.
Really hard to hire people. Isn't it?
It's not hard to hire them.
That's true. It's hard to hire good ones.
There were applications. Okay. Good question though, Jim. Any other questions?
Yeah.
James.
Some, under the fleet, it says that the new Kubota tractor that we bought is having issues. What kind of issues are we having with that?
It's a Kubota.
I thought we bought a Coyote.
These Kubotas, they're just crap. That's all they are. I don't know why we.
While they're looking that up, where's the radar sign now?
Yeah, you noticed it was gone?
Yeah,
Yeah, boy.
I can speed again.
Somebody steal that one too.
Alicia, radar signs on Redcliffe Whiteout?
It is not, no. So since we received reports that not all of these segments were,
The 3 wasn't working.
was not working correctly.
Lightups.
Yes, the battery was checked. It is not the battery, so it's an internal component. So it's going back to Fox under warranty.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So that's
that's not the tractor. When regarding the Kubota tractor.
But if you're really fast, it just said 07 or something.
which isn't so bad.
No. Regarding the Kubota tractor, when we received the unit, the PTO was not working correctly. We had to hold demonstrations with Palliser regarding this, what is a working PTO and what is not. So they're taking it to the manufacturing company. The whole unit, every unit that came off that line is having PTO issues. So they took it back and they're going to solve it and return it as a working unit.
Should have bought a John Deere.
Did you just say you had to explain to the salespeople
Yes.
how a PTO works? Wow.
Green.
So the
I
salesmen
agree
don't
with you on
have
that.
the same experience as the manufacturer when it comes to the unit. So we had to involve the supplier.
They're also a Kubota service center.
Guys.
So
How's our new loader? Is it here now?
It's here. Fantastic.
Used to run all green.
All operational training was complete as of last week. It is now functional.
Agreed.
Good. Any other questions? Larry?
What's the fix gonna be for the tiles coming off the?
Crazy glue.
We will be discussing it further with budget discussions.
I would just hope that heck it gets done before, the pool opens again next year.
you close the pool.
I would say that probably can't happen. Seems to me the last time we tried something, it took a couple of years just to get lined up. Yeah. Was it a good decision or a good choice? Apparently not. Hindsight is wonderful. Because I don't think it's gonna get better. They're not gonna stick better next year.
So what you're saying, all the tiles will come off and we'll have to.
I'm not saying I'm not that smart.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Weren't the boilers not supposed to be here at the end of September? No, it was 8-week delivery, which was the end of the.
But shouldn't be the end of the swimming year.
End of
should be
August.
June.
Yes, we're still waiting for it to arrive.
Any light at the end of the tunnel?
Only the flame.
Aren't you glad you came in, though?
Yes. Nope.
Interesting.
We've been in touch with them and we're having some shipping issues. I don't know. That's what we get from the supplier, so.
Oh, the town bought the boiler directly,
Uh,
or the contractor bought the boiler?
the contractor bought the boiler, yes.
If it fell off the ship.
That's a possibility.
Well, let's hope they weren't manufactured in Florida. Go ahead.
Is there no plan to fix the tiles or do something with it, or
Well,
Shannon just said.
admin just said there was a plan going to come forward at budget time, but honestly, I'm not aware of it, but there could be.
We're still working on details and getting information, so. I don't
Okay,
want to
so
give-
it's, we're still looking into it.
It is an issue that they know about.
Yes,
So, and maybe we could still be looking into it.
Well, I think, I guess optimally,
Optimistic?
optimally, you are going to have something by budget time.
correct.
Right.
We're gonna bring you the options. from
So
this
then
to this.
it'll be on us whether
In 2
it's
weeks.
fixed or not.
Have some additional information for you, yes.
It's 2 weeks from today, the budget, right?
Tomorrow, isn't it?
No, it was
So
2.
by July or August, we should.
29th, 30th, my flight's 20.
So the problem is we try to learn money on those.
You don't have to be here.
So directed past the costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
If I get stabbed, I'm not bringing it back.
You're not getting.
Any other questions or concerns on the municipal manager report? Seeing none, Kathy moved it for information. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Council reports, verbal. Anybody? We all went to Alberta Munis.
Then I'll go to Alberta Munis. Well, not all of us.
Oh, well, most of us, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just a cool kid.
I stand corrected.
Just the cool kids and cat. I mean, not cool kids.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have expected that to be the cool kids in Coast, actually.
Hey, like, I'm the group's car out there. You
Um,
went yours home.
I did.
I don't know.
so
No, it's in the ground.
we also, a few of us were at the, town hall meeting last week, which, I was surprised we ended up with a by-election because I thought Dwight was gonna have a stroke. But after that, meeting, David G. from Rogers came up to me and he'd emailed me a couple months ago and I forgot about his email, so I apologize to him for that, but he has requested that some representatives from Red Cliff, whether it be council or admin, sit down and they do video interviews that air on their local cable TV channel throughout Alberta. A whole bunch of communities listed here and their YouTube page. And they're willing to do this for free to share why people should visit Red Cliff and the opportunities that the town offers. So kind of like a highlight reel / interview of why people might want to visit Red Cliff, might want to move to Red Cliff, how amazing our town is, etc. He said the interviews are normally conducted by their volunteer hosts, but the town could provide their own interviewer or host for these interviews with a length of 5 to 60 minutes long. And
It's tight range there.
yeah, well, short as 5 minutes, but no longer than an hour. But yeah, he would like to sit down with either individual members of council or, we could put Shannon in the hot seat.
She'd hide.
Cause she does. She loves that.
I do.
What's that?
Email you.
Well, and whatever, it doesn't matter, but I didn't want to commit to anything because I said I know it was.
Well, I got one. Did you get one?
And then copy, I think.
This, he emailed redcliffe@redcliffe.ca and me in the last one.
I know I've gotten one.
I know I have it because I know who David G is.
Anyways, I told him, I said we have some sort of policy and I don't remember what it was, is what I told him last week, but I said I'd bring it up this week. See if anyone had any interest or if it's something they think we should do or not do. It's free advertising for the town. Or whoever watches the Rogers local cable TV channel, but either way, it is free advertising for the town if it's something that we're interested in doing. The offer's there.
Used to be with Sean.
Yeah, Shaw got bought by Rogers.
Oh, yes.
And in his first email, he said he'd love to do it on a quarterly or bi-yearly basis. So I'm throwing that out there.
Any other reports?
He's got some.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, so I went to the AGM for the youth center, as well as their last meeting. The only thing interesting is that they're not doing their big haunted greenhouses here. They couldn't get the venue. So that's.
I thought they secured another venue. Obviously not.
So not happening at all this year, which is too bad. They couldn't find a place to have it.
That was probably a good money driver for them.
It wasn't. Well, there's a lot of Halloween stuff in storage right now. Uses here.
A lot of Halloweeners. Not very happy.
Okay. Anything else?
We resigned our CAO at Cypress View.
Okay.
That's pretty fascinating stuff for the rest of council.
Obviously, he's doing a good job.
He is doing a good job. Yes, he is.
All right. Thanks for all those reports. Somebody want to move in for information? Chris? All in favor? Opposed, that's carried. And landfill graphs. Larry. Questions or concerns? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And then council important meetings and events.
I'll move for
James. Anybody know any that aren't on here?
the tree ceremony's not on there.
And in the manager's report, it talks about the 29th of November. Okay, that's still when it is?
Maybe. Should be
That's capital budget day, right?
29th, yes.
No.
Oh, that's
capital
October,
budget.
sorry, it's November. All right, there's something else there. Oh, that's Thanksgiving in the USA.
Black Friday,
Capital budget's 21st, 22nd.
that's operating. budget.
Operating, sorry.
Yeah, 21, I have. Okay,
Make sure you get your time off request and form it where, so. About that day.
My new flight lands on the 20th now. Thank you.
Hopefully it'll get delayed by 12 hours again.
Hopefully not.
At IMC, they kept saying we gotta push the airport, so.
Sounds good to me.
okay. There's possibly just that one that needs to be added then.
It just doesn't go that far. That's all.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
that's what it is.
it'll be on the next one.
Okay, so James moved, all in favor? Opposed, carried. 5-minute recess. Sure.
We already voted, we're already open.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Oh, it goes much more east and west than I thought.
North, west.
So then,
We start
There's-
Well, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'm waiting for Jim.
I did it 3 times already.
We weren't open yet.
Ryan is.
Oh, okay.
Coming from the south, in my opinion.
His worship's not.
is that the ride there?
Anyway, but I don't know shit all.
But it goes up,
Yeah. It goes in the same.
okay.
Who made the motion to get out?
Let's go.
James? All in favor?
Waiver.
Opposed?
I like my elevator comment earlier.